Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, brothers and sisters. Thank you, Linda, for your wonderful introduction and kind words. And thank you all for joining us tonight. First of all, my heartfelt gratitude to the grace of heaven, the great virtues of our holy teachers, the merciful guidance of our Lao Qianren and Qianren in heaven. And thank you, masters and all my fellow lecturers for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight. Tonight, my topic is propriety and ren in the Analects. And again, before I begin, I want to let you know that most of my speech will be primarily in English, okay? But I will speak a little Mandarin, probably like 1% of my speech. And when you hear it, don't worry and don't feel confused, because why do I speak Mandarin? It's because I need to use my native language to bring my thoughts back to the main theme of the lecture. And it's not only for myself, but I think it can better serve the majority of our audience who do understand Chinese. And when I speak some Mandarin, actually, I have already explained everything in English. And the little bit Chinese, it's just like a final touch to bring everything together, okay? So when you hear it, actually, I have explained everything in English. Okay, let's get started. In this online course, during the sessions on the Analects, we study selected passages from the Analects included in our Xinmin class teaching materials. And we know the Analects has 20 chapters and 492 passages. And in the Xinmin class materials, of course, we don't cover all 492. Instead, specific passages have been carefully chosen and grouped into 6 categories. So you can see the 6 categories are as follows: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this selection was organized by our Dao Center. And in 2024, in this year's online lecture series, there are 3 sessions on the Analects, and the recordings of all the sessions are available on YouTube channel. So you feel free to scan the QR code here to access the recordings at your convenience. And on July 21st, we already shared about Tao and true nature. And on September 15th, we also share about filial piety and fraternal respect. Tonight, we will be sharing about propriety and ren. Okay, let's get started. Ren, when talking about ren, this term holds very significant importance in Confucian philosophy. And it's the most fundamental concept in Confucian philosophy. It has been translated into English in various ways, such as benevolence, altruism, goodness, compassion, or humaneness, etc. However, translating it accurately is challenging because it doesn't specifically refer to a particular virtue or a particular positive quality. Instead, it represents an inner capacity that all human beings possess to do good deeds and act as they should. So it is the summation of all virtues, 总德. So after receiving Tao, we come to understand that Ren originates from the essence of our true nature. It is our conscience, 良心. Initially, we attempted to maintain a consistent English term throughout the text to translate Ren in the Analects. However, we later opted to utilize different English terms, but finally, we decided to leave it untranslated as Ren, 就不翻了，直接人。Okay. How was the name of this category, propriety and ren, generated? It's because of this passage in chapter 3, passage number 3. The master said, if a man is lacking ren, what do rights of propriety mean to him? If a man is lacking ren, what does music mean to him? So ren is conscience, is our inherent virtue, our inherent goodness. And in this verse, Confucius points out that etiquette or music will mean nothing to those who are lacking virtue or goodness. Without ren as a foundation, practices of Li, ritual, and Yue, music, means nothing, lose their true purpose and value. So how were propriety, Li, and music created? In ancient times, sage kings composed good melodies and established the rights of propriety to guide and transform people. Let's take propriety first. The sage kings established rights of propriety based on love and respect arising from their conscience. While we cannot fully understand the deeds and examples of sages from the past, but in our present Tao Center, our rights and etiquette were established by our holy teacher. 暂定佛规是我们老师所制定的。During his time in the world, so our holy teacher established the simplest classroom rituals. 所以我们简单的上课的礼节也是正定佛规里面的So we can take this simplest 1, 2, 3 greeting etiquette as an example. At the start of each class, follow this 1, 2, 3 ritual. When the speaker enters the lecture hall or enter the temple, the class leader will call out 1. And at this time, the speaker will face God and Buddhas to make 3 bows. And the audience will stand sincerely to show their respect. So 1 is full of respect. And then the class leader will call out 2. At this point, the speaker will turn around and the speaker and the audience will greet each other to show their love and respect toward each other. So 2 is full of love and respect. And then after that, the class leader will call out 3, and the speaker will begin the speech. So the speaker must stand there for the entire class. However, out of consideration for the audience, speaker will hope the audience can be more comfortable. So he will kindly ask the audience to be seated. So as a gesture of his love and respect for them. So 3, full of love and respect. So you can see even the very simple, very basic 1, 2, 3 etiquette for every class was established from the love and respect originated from our holy teacher's conscience. So when we follow the 1, 2, 3, do we have love and respect in our heart? Without love and respect, without ren, even though we are very familiar with all the etiquette, all the rituals, all the propriety in the Tao community, probably they don't mean much for us to practice. Okay, so after understanding how propriety is established, let's talk about music. When a person is happy, they will hum something. They hum, they form a melody. So therefore, the Chinese word for music is le, which is the same word for happiness. So you can see these two are the same word, but different pronunciation. Different pronunciation means differently. The left one means music, the right one means happiness, but they are the same character. So we can understand from this, we can understand that music actually originated from the happiness within the composer's heart. So the sound of music composed by sage kings is the manifestation of true happiness originating from their conscience. So while performing rites of propriety or listening to good melodies made by saints and sages, people can reflect upon their true nature to beautify their mind. However, without cultivating the mind and revealing the conscience, what benefits does it bring to perform rites of propriety or listen to or sing holy songs? There's something we need to examine ourselves. Okay, review. The master said, if a man is lacking Ren, what does the rights of propriety mean to him? If a man is lacking Ren, what does music mean to him? If there is no conscience and no respect for others, what is the use of adhering to etiquette and manners? If true happiness is not generated from within, no matter how one listens to music, it cannot beautify one's state of mind. Okay, that's the first passage for tonight. Since Ren is our inner conscience, if we want to seek Ren, we should be able to find it anytime and anywhere. Logically, we should be able to find it because it is within us. That's why Confucius said, is Ren so far away from us? I wish to have virtue of Ren, and then Ren is here at hand. 人远乎哉，我欲人，斯人至矣。Ren, conscience, our inherent virtue, our inherent goodness. If people give up conscience, they will find Ren far away from them. Even with just a moment of awakening and the discovery of conscience, Ren immediately emerges because it is within us. It is not far away. And that's why we are very familiar with 放下屠刀立地成佛浪子回头金不换 because Ren is right within us. And Ren is our inherent virtue. It is within us. But if we ignore our intrinsic Ren and we are lost in the material world, then Ren is far away. But if we can turn inward and reflect upon our true self, then Ren is right here and now, 就在当前了. So to receive Tao is to encounter one's inherent Buddha. 求道是一个遇佛的过程，遇到自性佛。To cultivate Tao is to restore and manifest one's inherent Buddha nature. 然后修道办道呢，是恢复自信，还有发扬光大自性佛的一个过程。So, and Ren is right because Ren is right within one's Buddha nature. That is why this passage is especially important for us to contemplate, because we all have received Tao. Confucius said, is Ren so far away from us? I wish to have virtue of Ren, and then Ren is here at hand. So there is another passage resonates harmoniously with the concept of this 育人师智. Wishing to have virtue of Ren, then Ren is here at hand. So let's go to the third passage for tonight. Confucius said, I have never met anyone who truly cherishes Ren, or anyone who truly detests any lack of Ren within themselves. Those who cherish Ren hold it as their highest value. As for those who cannot tolerate the lack of Ren within themselves, they practice it so conscientiously that they would never allow anything unkind or unvirtuous to enter their lives. Is there anyone who can exert a whole day's effort to practice Ren? I have never seen someone whose strength falls short. Perhaps such a person could exist, though I have yet to meet one. Well, this passage is relatively long, So I will we can discuss in 3 parts. The first part is, what does it mean to be people who truly cherish 人？真正的好人的人是怎么样一种情况呢？ And the second part is, who are the people who truly detest? Detest 这边是恶，就是厌恶。Who truly detest any lack of 人？那哪些人，什么样的人是真正讨厌不仁呢？ Here, so-called lack of Zen doesn't mean people outside. Lack of Zen really means self-examination. 恶不仁不是说去讨厌别人不仁，而是反省自己到底有没有做不仁的事。Okay, and the third part is one day. Why is it specifically about one day? Okay, so we'll talk about this passage from 3 parts. And the last sentence of this passage, Confucius said, perhaps such a person could exist, though I have yet to meet one. Confucius says this. He's actually using a very polite way of speaking. He implies that such a person doesn't really exist. Actually, such a person does not exist. Confucius means that. But he expresses in a courteous and thoughtful way. So he said, humbly said, perhaps such a person could exist, but he has never met one. Okay, 人, let's talk about them first. The Zen that Confucius spoke of refers to the inherent goodness within each person. It is not something learned from external teachings, but an innate quality that lies within, waiting to be awakened. Okay, and we can think of it like the kernel of a plant seed. The kernel of a plant seed in Chinese also called 人, called 种子的人, 种人. And this kernel is the most nutrient-rich part of the seed, provides essential nourishment for the seed to sprout and grow. Every seed has this kernel, just as every person has the virtue of them within them. 每一个种子都有种人，就好像每一个人内在都有一个仁德。And the kernel for to the seed, the kernel is the most nutritious and most delicious part of the seed. Just like 人 is the most virtuous and most beautiful part of a person, no matter how you look like. As long as you possess 人, you are beautiful. And the kernel, because it is very nutritious, so it can provide basic elements for the seed to sprout and grow. Just like 人 can provide abundant virtues, profound virtues for a person to cultivate internally, to fulfill themselves, and to manifest, to do good deeds, to have a positive impact on the outside world, externally, to establish merits and virtues, 内圣外王。从何而来？就是从这个人而来。就好像一颗种子的人是提供种子生根发芽的基本养分，那我们自信中的人就是提供我们内圣外王的基本德性。So, however, like a seed that requires the right condition to grow, 人 in each of us also needs to be inspired and enlightened to fully manifest. And to receive Dao is to rediscover 人. Note here, rediscover. We already have 人, but after receiving Dao, we rediscover the hidden treasure. And to learn, cultivate, preach, propagate and practice 学修讲伴行. Dao is to manifest 人. And in this picture, you can see this is a grandmom, a granddaughter. In this picture, you can see every glance they share and every gentle smile between the grandmom and the granddaughter clearly reveal the Ren and love within their hearts, flowing between them in each interaction, in each gesture. So in the modern world, few people, people who understand the beauty of filial piety has become less and less. If people can understand the beauty of Ren, they can practice filial piety naturally. And if all the people can practice filial piety naturally, automatically the world will become a world of great unity. Okay, and in each Tao seminar, 就不用我们不修习菩萨一直讲孝道了。所以孝道它基本上就是一个人的一个基本的发挥。你看多么美啊！ Okay, so let's go to the first part, 好人者. We want to talk about three parts, 好人者, 悟人者, and one day. Okay, 好人者无以上之. Those who cherish Ren would hold it as their most precious treasure. They understand that the essence of our true nature is the most precious treasure in our lives, much more precious than luxury homes, luxury cars. And the ultimate goal of life is to restore our own inherent nature and help others restore theirs. So 好人者就是这样的人，他们认为人是最珍贵的。Okay. And as for those who cannot tolerate any lack of Zen, 至于那些讨厌不仁的人呢？ As for those who cannot tolerate any lack of Zen within themselves, 他们是反省自己哦，不是要求别人哦。They practice it so conscientiously that they would never allow anything unkind or unvirtuous to enter their lives. They would cultivate carefully and mindfully, always do self-examination. They will strive to maintain the purity of their state of mind. Let it be like the unpolluted whiteness of plum blossoms. 像梅花那么洁白，他们会这样子反省自己，一尘不染啊。So here I would like to share a very beautiful story of 悟不仁者. Since 悟不仁者, they consider Ren is the most precious treasure and cannot tolerate even a slight trace of unkind thoughts. To pollute themselves, they would insist on practicing Ren. Story goes like this. Traditionally, ancient cultivators practiced in solitude, often in caves. And there was a young monk who decided to begin his cultivation and set out to find a suitable cave. After a long search, he finally found one and cleaned it up. Just as he was ready to start, an old monk entered the cave and said, "You are still young and have plenty of time to cultivate. I, however, am very old and need to hurry with my cultivation. Could you please allow me to use this cave instead?" Of course, the young man insisted on practicing Ren, so the young monk thought about it and decided to let the old man have the cave. The young man continued searching for a cave. After some time and effort, he found another one. Just as he finished cleaning it, a disabled man entered and said, "You're still young and strong enough to find another cave. Look at me. I have difficulty walking and my arms are weak. Could I have this cave?" Although the young man felt reluctant, he decided to help because he insisted on practicing Ren. He decided to help the disabled man. But over the years, each time the young man found a cave and prepared it, someone would always come along and ask for it. What a coincidence 啊！所以考卷呢是一张一张的发下来啊。And eventually, the young man grew older and finally found a cave he truly liked. As he was settling in, this old man, and when he settled in, a young man entered and said, "You are now an old man with little time left to cultivate and achieve your goal." 所以你要世代交替啊。I'm still young and have a better chance of succeeding in my cultivation. Why not let me have this cave? 哦，好像很有道理哦。And so the result of 坚持行人啊 the result of insist on practicing 人 apparently is empty. 所以坚持行人的效果的结果就是一场空啊。And the old man thought, I'm too old and weak to search for another cave. 他并没有很恨哦。He did not say, how can you be so cruel to me? He just thought that I'm so old and weak to search for another cave. But he contemplated his situation and still decided, because he insisted on practicing 人. He still decided to yield the cave to the young man. And just as he was about to leave the cave, a golden Buddha appeared before him and said, "You have completed your cultivation because you have insisted on practicing 人. Now you may come with me." So we have some reflections on this story. Now imagine his journey when he searched for the perfect cave to practice in. If, over the decades, this cultivator had held on to any selfish thoughts, 如果他在这个数十年当中，他起了一点点自私的念头 ，any anger 一点点生气 ，or any resentment 一点点恨 ，over others' selfishness 对于一切的不合理有一些恨 ，he simply wouldn't have come this far. He simply wouldn't come this far. 所以物不仁哦，真的是一点点念头都不能够有，一点点不仁的念头都不能有。Especially since, beyond all expectations, he was ultimately blessed with an encounter with the Buddha. 如果他之前有一点点负面的话，他就不可能遇佛了。So as we try to follow the Bodhisattva path, we may encounter unreasonable situations. In those moments, we can ask ourselves, would a Bodhisattva hold resentment toward others? 以前老前人常问我们说哈，菩萨有恨人的吗？ Our grand senior elder, our 老前人 in the past, when His Holiness was with us, he always asked us, would a Bodhisattva hold resentment toward others? Of course, the answer is no. So, when we face tough challenges, let's not give in to anger or complaints. 当我们遇到逆境的时候哦，不要对抱怨投降，不要投降然后开始抱怨啊。Would a Bodhisattva ever refuse to help others on their spiritual path? 菩萨有不见道成道的吗？看到人家在修道不帮忙吗？ Of course, the answer is no. A Bodhisattva will help, especially help others on their spiritual path. So, in the end, we learn that there is an unchanging truth, 一个永远不变的真理 on the path of cultivating and practicing Tao, If others cause you losses, heaven will surely compensate you. But we need to have patience. We need to have patience. Imagine his journey. If he lost his patience, he wouldn't encounter Buddha. So we just have faith. 人亏天补. And the final section, the final parts of this passage, what's so special about one day? Okay, Confucius said, is there anyone who can exert a whole day's effort? 用一日的力量哈，有一日用其力 exert one day's effort to practice Zen. I have never seen someone whose strength falls short. Why does Confucius emphasize that he never seen anyone? Let's talk about fall short of strength. He hasn't seen anyone fall short of strength when putting effort into practicing Zen. This statement actually reflects a powerful insight. The true practice of Zen doesn't drain or exhaust one's strength. 如果你是真的行人的话，你不会干掉，你不会枯竭的。It will not drain or exhaust your strength. Because as long as you are practicing, you truly practice Zen, you are aligned with your origin, and there is a fountain inside the origin. 有一个源头活水。如果真正行人的话，他可以be aligned with 自己的 the fountain 的源头活水。The true practice of Zen doesn't drain or exhaust one's strength. Instead, Zen is a virtue that, when genuinely pursued, aligns so closely with one's inner nature, the fountain, that it feels natural and sustainable. You won't fall short of your strength if you are truly practicing Zen. Okay, let's talk about one day. 我还没有哦，先说这个 fall short of strength. Another reason why Confucius have never seen someone whose strength falls short if he can exert a whole day's effort to practice Zen. It's because Zen is the goodness within each of us. So the reason people might not fully embody Zen is not because they lack the ability. 并不是因为不能，而是因为 rather the sincere effort to find, they lack the sincere effort to find the internal treasure. 不是因为不能，而是不为也。They lack the sincere effort. Since a person can exert a whole day's effort, so their effort is enough, sincere enough. That's why Confucius said he has never seen someone whose strength falls short. Okay, so the strength to practice then lies not in one's capability, 不是不能, but in sustaining a wholehearted commitment, 而是不是能够 wholeheartedly commit to pursue our inner treasure, to discover our inner treasure. Okay, let's talk about one day. Confucius said, is there anyone who can exert a whole day's effort to practice Zen? I have never seen someone whose strength falls short. Just as our holy teacher has taught us, 这句我们很熟啊，一日修来一日功，一日不修一日空。One day's cultivation brings one day's merit. One day neglected leaves one day in vain. Well, just like the concept emphasized in the very famous book, Atomic Habits. Okay, if our goals, when we want to pursue our goals, but if our goals seem hard to reach, we can break down our efforts into smaller steps. After all, the journey toward becoming saints and sages, 成圣成贤的这条路啊，是终身的, is a lifelong pursuit. So let's focus on what we need to accomplish just today. If we put in effort each day and every day, setting our aim on one step of cultivation at a time, we'll find it easier to accomplish our goals. So let's set our goal for just one day's cultivation first. Then we'll find it easier to accomplish. And in the great learning, there's also a line that resonates with this concept. 苟日新，日日新，又日新嘛。If you renew yourself for one day, you can continue to renew yourself day after day. Okay, review. Confucius said, I have never met anyone who truly cherishes Zen or anyone who truly detests any lack of Zen within themselves. Okay, who are people who really truly cherishes Zen? Those who cherish Zen hold it as their highest value, the most precious treasure. Who are people who truly detest lack of Zen? As for those who cannot tolerate any lack of Zen within themselves, this is self-examination. No? They do self-examination. They don't judge others. They do self-examination. They practice it so conscientiously that they would never allow anything unkind or unvirtuous to enter their lives. And then one day, is there anyone who can exert a whole day's effort to practice Zen? I have never seen someone whose strength falls short. 这种人是不存在的。But Confucius was very humble, very politely said, perhaps such a person could exist, though I have yet to meet one. But actually, Confucius meant that such a person does not exist. It's very encouraging if we can commit wholeheartedly to practice them. Our strengths will never fall short. 这是很鼓励的话啊。So since Zen is our inherent nature, how should a cultivator practice Zen to fully manifest its great function? The students were eager to know. 人这么重要，所以学生都要问夫子，要如何行人呢？ Confucius tailored his responses to each student. 孔老夫子因材施教。Considering their unique aptitudes and abilities. So here, due to space limitations, we will present only 3 examples. The first one, 子贡. 子贡 asked, consider someone who extensively benefits the people and offers help to all. What do you think of him? Could we say he has attained the state of Zen? The master replied, how could he be merely Zen? His actions go beyond that. They are practically those of a sage. Even Yao and Sun might not reach this level. Zigong was a very successful businessman. We all know that. So, of course, he was quite wealthy, quite rich. So he thought about that. He was quite rich. He thought about practicing. He thought about practicing Zen by helping people, helping those less fortunate. However, Confucius guided him, emphasizing that the key is not about money, it's about the heart. 所以子贡是很成功的商人，以及很成功的政治家。那么他有钱有势嘛，所以他想要行人，他想要大大的帮助大家啊，在各方面，在经济方面啊。但是孔老夫子告诉他，重点不在这里，而是在心。重点不是 money，it's about the heart. OK， 如果重点在 money 的话，那能够行人的人太少了呀。 并不是所有人都很有钱呢，对不对？So when Confucius said the actions of extensively benefiting the people are practically those of a sage， 博施济众啊。Confucius said 博施济众啊 practically those of a sage， 尧舜都做不来啊。When Confucius said that, I believe he wasn't really encouraging everyone to strive for this level. Rather, he was using an elevated tone to suggest that for most people, this isn't a practical approach to practicing 人。孔老夫子说博施济众就是圣人呢、并不是在称赞博施济众，要大家一定要博施济众哦，而是在用一种比较对比的方式来告诉大家，这个不是每个人做得到的。It's not practical approach. Okay, so extensively benefiting and helping all people are undoubtedly benevolent deeds. 博施济众一定是好事。However, Confucius was concerned that defining 人 in terms of such large-scale generosity， 这么多钱救这么多人才叫行人的话啊，might lead people to see practicing 人 as beyond their reach。很多人会觉得我没有钱，since it depends on many external factors. To be a philanthropist, to start a charity, you need to have money, you need to have power, you need to have substantial resources, influence, and the opportunity so that you can start a charity. And this isn't something easily practiced in daily life. So Confucius said, now, a person of 人 in seeking to establish himself also helps establish others. In seeking to achieve his goals, he also assists others in achieving theirs. And in doing so, he puts himself in others' shoes. This is what may be called the true art of 人. Okay, 人 is one's conscience. So Confucius points out a fundamental method to start from the heart. Putting oneself in others' shoes is something anyone can practice, as it requires only a caring heart, an empathetic heart. Essentially, anyone with a considerate heart can try to put themselves in others' shoes. But the Chinese, original Chinese, 能进取辟. 能进取辟 literally means emphasizing by using one's own heart. 进 means our heart. Our heart is very close to ourselves. So 进 means our heart. Using our heart to measure, to 度量 other people's situations. Emphasizing, it's called empathy. Emphasizing by using our own heart to understand others, to be able to take one's own feelings as a guide in treating other people. Like, if I were him, how would I feel? It suggests that by reflecting on how one would feel in a similar situation, then one can better connect with others and respond kindly to others. If we can 能进取辟的话, then we can respond kindly. 我们就会慈悲一点 to other people's situations. Okay, let's talk more about 能进取辟. Feeding others' needs. Of course, it's on the brighter side of life. If we wish to achieve something, like we want health, we want something convenient to help to do our task. We want to have something positively on the positive side of life. Then we are also willing to help others to achieve it. And this mindset is accessible to everyone, So put our feet in others' shoes. This is empathy. While we want to be better, we also want to help others be better too. And we don't do to others what we wouldn't want others to do to us. Everybody can do it if we choose to. So 能进取辟, everybody can do it if we choose to. But to start a charity, is not approachable to everyone. That's why Mother Teresa said, not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. Not everyone has the resources or circumstances to establish a charity, but each of us can practice 仁 in our daily lives. We can do this by putting ourselves in others' shoes, by loving others as we love ourselves. 就试着替人着想，爱人如己哦。And by showing empathy and kindness in our interactions with those around us. 从身边的人开始哦。So there is a saying, charity begins at home. Because 仁 is the summation of all virtues within one's inherent nature, and Tao should be practiced in everyday life. So charity begins at home. 能进取辟 is the best way to practice 仁. Tzu Gong asked, consider someone who extensively benefits the people and offers help to all. What do you think of him? Could we say he has attained the state of 仁？孔老夫子因材施教，因为子贡太成功了，有钱有势哦，他想这样博施济众。The master replied, "How could he be merely 仁？这不只是仁哦。But 孔老夫子 wouldn't say no. 孔老夫子 respectfully, politely say, "Oh, this isn't merely 仁. This action go beyond that. Those actions are practically those of a sage." 孔老夫子把它抬高，有点用一种 elevated tone to say this is not practical to everyone. Even Yao and Sun might not reach this level. Now, the practical way to practice 仁, a person of 仁 in seeking to establish himself also helps establish others. 替人着想. In seeking to achieve his goals, he also assists others in achieving theirs. 不自私哦. And in doing so, he puts himself in others' shoes. And this is what may be called the true art of 仁. 可谓人之方也已啊. Okay, the second page, the second passage, 弟子问仁哦，这是第二章啊。The second passage, for the disciple to ask Confucius about how to practice 仁。子张问仁啊，子张 asked Confucius about 仁。Confucius replied, "If you are able to practice 5 virtues wherever you go, then you are practicing 仁." Then Zhi Zhang asked what these virtues were, and Confucius answered, courtesy, leniency, trustworthiness, diligence, and charity. If you are courteous, courtesy. If you are courteous, you will not be treated with disrespect. 敬人者，人恒敬之嘛。If you are lenient, 如果你宽宏大量, you win people's support. If you are trustworthy, people will entrust responsibilities to you. If you are diligent, you will achieve results. Whatever you do, as long as you are diligent, 天下一勤无难事, you will achieve something. And if you are charitable, if you are kind and charitable, you will inspire others to help you when the need arises. What does that mean? Because you're kind and charitable, you always lend a helping hand to others if you can. But sometimes you need help. But in the past, if you're always helping people, when you are in need, people will naturally help you. So you will inspire others to help you when the need arises. So when we share this passage, we need to share this holy revelation, because in 2002, our holy teacher and 小皮皮仙童 gave us this holy revelation, a sublime holy revelation, 妙训. 公宽信敏会 in 高雄。In this style seminar, Holy Teacher sent us a gift. The gift was a lucky clover. A lucky clover typically refers to the four-leaf clover. The four-leaf clover is a rare variation of the common three-leaf clover. Most clover has 3 leaves, but this special variation can only be found 1 in 5,000. It is seen as a symbol of good luck in many cultures because it is rare and with an estimated frequency of 1 in 5,000. So finding one is often thought to bring good fortune and is associated with the fulfillment of one's wishes. 如果能够得到这个事业的幸运草，愿望就能够实现。And each leaf, however, 每一页都有它的含义哦。Each leaf of the clover is said to represent something special. So thanks to Holy Teacher. 之前我们不了解，现在知道了啊，原来四叶草的意义是这样的啊。Holy Teacher, in this Holy Revelation, the upper left part, 左上角, in the upper left part, Holy Teacher gave us this word, 恭, we translate into English as courtesy. Holy Teacher also taught us, 在法会里头哦，老师白话训这样讲哦 ，one should emulate the modesty of rice heads. Rice heads 就是稻穗，啊。One should emulate the modesty of rice heads, which bow lower as they grow fuller and more mature. 越饱满越低头。好 ，and courtesy. Think about it. When we go to the temple, when we come to the temple, the first thing we do, the first thing we learn is reverence for God and Buddhas. 我们到佛堂第一件事不就是礼敬诸佛吗？对不对？所以就是学习谦恭嘛。The first thing we learn, the first thing we do is reverence for God and Buddhas. And along with politeness and respect for one another, 然后跟大家问好嘛。对，所以 we come to the temple to learn courtesy. Okay? And along with politeness and respect for one another, that is to learn courtesy. Okay, and the lower left part, Holy Teacher gave us this word, 宽. I translate into English as leniency. Holy Teacher also taught us in this Tao seminar, with a broad and tolerant mind, like the vast blue sea and vast blue sky. So we can see the large ships and the seagulls. So the large ships can only navigate in vast blue sea, right? And the seagulls can only fly in the sky. So with a broad and tolerant mind, we should cultivate our mind to be as spacious as the vast blue sea and as the vast blue sky for the seagulls to fly and for the large ships to navigate within. Because there is a very famous Chinese saying, 宰相肚里能撑船. There's a Chinese saying, the prime minister's big belly. We know a prime minister is someone who has a very high position and who has great power. So who must be very busy dealing with very complicated things. So he must be, he's big. The prime minister's big belly is so spacious, means his mind, he is broad-minded, is so, we use big belly to describe his broad-mindedness. It's so spacious that it could allow ships to navigate within. This saying suggests that to navigate complex situations and overcome obstacles, one must be broad-minded, accommodating, and forgiving. 宽. Let's think about it. When we come to the temple, in the temple, no one oppresses or excludes anyone. 在佛堂里头，谁跟谁推来推去，挤来挤去，要排挤别人呢？ No one. We all strive to support each other in walking the path of Tao. So are we not all learning to be more understanding and forgiving when we step into the temple? Indeed. In the temple, we always 礼让, always give others the space. No one oppresses or excludes anyone. So we come to the temple to learn courtesy and leniency. And Holy Teacher continued to expound in this Tao seminar. 这个是训中训哦。Holy Teacher said, 宽心足以无忧哦。Cultivating a lenient mindset brings contentment, 无忧嘛 contentment and freedom from anxiety. 宽和足以得众. Generosity and gentleness help us gain the support of others. 宽厚足以承载. A generous and tolerant attitude enables us to withstand the impact of external circumstances. 宽容足以化人. Leniency and forgiveness have the power to transform others. And 宽宏足以容物. With a generous and magnanimous mindset, we can be accepting and accommodating towards all things and situations. Okay, the lower right part, Holy Teacher gave us 信, trustworthiness. Holy Teacher taught us, being trustworthy like the sun and moon, present for every sunrise and sunset, every moonrise and moonset, 像日月一样，没有一天缺席, never missing a single day. So think about it, in the temple, everyone is punctual. For classes, fulfilling our responsibilities without retreating, we wouldn't say no. Whatever responsibility, we will shoulder them and fulfill them. So isn't this a practice of trustworthiness? Indeed. So we come to the temple to learn courtesy, leniency, and trustworthiness and diligence. Holy Teacher highlights the quality of ants in the upper right part of the lucky clover. Holy Teacher put two ants into it. Holy Teacher highlights the quality of ants. When the ants detect something sweet, they are quick to rush toward it and call their companions. You never see an ant sleeping. You always see ants running here and there. And you always see ants calling their companions. They are never selfish. So because teamwork will increase their chances of success. So like ants, Holy Teacher said, if we are hardworking, industrious, and collaborative, we too can achieve success. So in the temple, actually, we are cultivating diligence. See, in the temple, everyone is very, very diligent. While we might be lazy or unproductive on weekends, 通常周末这是最懒散的时候on Saturdays and Sundays, but Saturday and Sundays at the temple are often filled with activities. Each participant rises early, 每一个人都要起得很早, and either drives, bikes, takes a motorcycle, or uses public transportation, 用各种交通工具 rush to the temple, reach the temple, and actively engaging in our responsibilities, even 打毛巾、递茶水. So isn't this the cultivation of diligence? Yes. So in the temple, in the Tao community, we learn courtesy, leniency, trustworthiness, and diligence, and we cultivate the four virtues. But we cultivate these four virtues for what? We must have a purpose, have a goal. The purpose, the goal is to benefit the world, to benefit sentient beings. So the lucky clover has charity as its stem. Charity. If you consult other translations of the Analects, usually this word is translated, 公关姓名会, usually 会 is translated as kindness. But our holy teacher translated 会 as charity. It's very special, very special. Charity means helping those in need, driven by compassion. 基本上就是因为慈悲，所以不忍人之心，所以才伸手搭救。OK， 然后 charity 更可以是一个慈善事业。Charity can also be explained as a charitable profession, a charitable establishment. So the greatest charity, 一个慈善事业，一个最大的慈善事业 the greatest charity is to save sentient beings' souls. 最大的慈善事业就是救众生性命，出离苦海。The greatest charity is to save sentient beings' souls, to transcend end the cycle of reincarnation. 所以你看，真的是太有意义了。Holy teacher encourage us come to the temple to learn the four virtues. 公宽信命 okay. Courtesy, leniency, trustworthiness, and diligence. To do what? To do charity for sentient beings. To save sentient beings' souls out of the endless cycle of reincarnation. As long as we are committed to do this, the lucky clover naturally is in our hand. May each and every one of us receive Holy Teacher's gift, the lucky clover, and diligently cultivate the virtues of courtesy, leniency, trustworthiness, and diligence as we engage in the charitable work of spreading Tao, 来做办道的这个最大的慈善事业 to save sentient beings. And together, let's strive to repay the grace of heaven and the virtues of our holy teachers. To review, 子张 asked Confucius about Ren. Confucius replied, if you are able to practice 5 virtues wherever you go, then you are practicing Ren. 子张 asked what these virtues were, and Confucius answered, courtesy, leniency, trustworthiness, diligence, and charity. If you are courteous, you will not be treated with disrespect. If you are lenient, you win people's support. If you are trustworthy, people will entrust responsibilities to you. If you are diligent, you will achieve results. And if you are charitable, you will inspire others to help you when the need arises. So time it. Okay, the third passage, 弟子问人这一部分这个是第3章the third passage for of the disciple to ask about 人。颜渊 asked about 人。The master replied, to subdue one's ego and return to one's true nature. This is 人。If one day you can subdue yourself and return to true nature, the whole world will be included in your spiritual light. 人 rests within yourself. How could it come from others? Yan Yuan then asked, may I ask about the steps in this process? Okay, let's first talk about why I translate the. I used to translate the as propriety. Why I translate the from propriety to true nature here. For those of us who understand Chinese, we might wonder why the is translated here as true nature rather than propriety. It is because Confucius once stated in the Book of Rites, 在礼记里面孔老夫子曾经这样讲礼也者礼也 meaning that the first word 礼 is the second word 礼 the second word means principles Okay, and what principles? Principles that align with the truth, 真理，跟真理一致的这个 principle 叫做理。And this interpretation reflects a more profound aspect of 礼节的礼。So since 理 can also refer to principles in harmony with truth, the truth within oneself is precisely one's true nature. 所以既然理者理也，而我们人生中的真理，那不就是我们的自性吗？ Precisely our true nature. Therefore, we translate 复理 as a return to one's true nature. Okay, 克己复理为人 to subdue one's ego and return to one's true nature. This is 人。To subdue one's ego means to calm down any distracting thoughts and to work on overcoming our own temper and bad habits. 就是改毛病、去脾气、降服其心呢。It's all about being aware of these tendencies within us and carefully bringing them under control. 降服其心，然后恢复自信。And this is 人，克己复礼为人。Okay. And then Confucius continued to expound, if one day you can subdue yourself and return to true nature, the whole world will be included in your spiritual light. But in Chinese, it said 天下归人. Why here I translate 人 as spiritual light? Because we already know that 人 is our inherent conscience. Our inherent conscience is within our true nature. And our true nature is the light given to us from our heavenly mother. 就是我们来自理天，来自老母的这一道灵光吗？不是吗？ So here I translate it into spiritual light. It's easier for us to elaborate. Okay. So what does it mean when Confucius said the whole world will be included in your spiritual light? When we receive Tao, the initiation from our holy teacher, 名师一指, opens our holy gate, 打开我们的通天窍. And a spiritual light begins to shine on the face of everyone who has received Tao. In Confucius' time, Tao was transmitted on a one-to-one basis, and Yanhui was precisely the one who received Tao from Confucius. That's why Yanhui can comprehend this. As a Tao receiver, if we can subdue our temper and bad habits, 改毛病去脾气, and return to our true nature, this spiritual light can illuminate wherever we go. Think about it. If our hearts lack spiritual light, 如果我们都没有光的话, then everything and everyone we interact, we will feel heavy and difficult. 我们会觉得日子不好过. And we don't feel comfortable or find joy in it. 更别谈法喜了. But when we have this light, 我们有光的话, our experience of people and situations changes. We feel a genuine sense of joy. So we can interpret this phrase, the whole world will be included. Sorry. The whole world will be included in our spiritual light, like this. We can interpret this phrase like this. When someone restores their true nature, they naturally feel a deep concern for the world and its people, caring about both their well-being and their struggles. 为什么说一日克己复礼，天下归人呢？就是说一个人他恢复自信，或者说不必到完全明心见性，就是他比较恢复自信的时候，他自然会对世界以及这个世界上的人会关心他们的福祉，以及关心他们的灾难，自然，这是很自然的。But 对这个世界 so Confucius said the whole world will be included in your spiritual light. But the practice of Tao is in everyday life. 但是谈到世界会不会太远了？道在日常生活。 In daily life, some people travel frequently. 啊，有人飞来飞去哦。One week they are in this country, and the next they are in another country. So such people meet and care about people from all around the world. So you can say that the whole world included in their spiritual life. 因为他们像很多点人是到处开荒，就这样了啊。但是呢，other people they stay in one place. They stay rooted in one place, knowing very few people, yet connecting closely only with those around them. 但有的人生活圈比较小啊。Some have large, diverse social circles. 有的人他的社交圈很大，while others focus on smaller, close-knit communities. 有人社交圈很小啊。So here, the whole world. 所以这个时候呢，天下归人。So here, the whole world really means your world. 是指你的世界 really means your world, your social and personal circles, the places, the people you touch. That's your world. That's the whole world. Okay? So for someone who has truly returned to their true nature, their spiritual light shines on everything around them. Whoever and whatever they encounter is based in this light. And with this comes a deep joy. 因为他们的自信之光照耀到哪里就照耀，眼睛看不到，但是他们感觉得到，所以 they have a deep joy, a profound 法喜 Dharma joy, the joy of Dharma, and also a wisdom that guides them to handle life's situations with grace and clarity. 所以这个就是天下归人。And this was the happiness 颜回 experienced. 这正是颜回体会到的哦。While others might feel burdened by life's ups and downs, 人不堪其忧啊。颜回 found a deep inner peace and joy within, 回也不改其乐。His light illuminated his world, both inside and out. And his light influenced, like all of us, the cultivators in later generations, inspire us profoundly. Who was Yan Hui? Yan Hui was a disciple who carried the torch of the heavenly decree. Yan Hui is also known by his courtesy name Ziyuan and as Yan Yuan. Yan Yuan is a combination of his surname and courtesy name. He is also reverently referred to as Master Yan or Yan Zi. Yan Hui was Confucius' most cherished disciple, known for his diligent self-cultivation, 好学, and remarkable spiritual attainment. His dedication led him to an exceptional level of spiritual cultivation at a very young age, a level Confucius praised repeatedly in the Analects. 孔老夫子在《论语》当中有好几段这么称赞颜回不是没有道理。And over 1700 years after his passing, later generations in Chinese history honor Yan Hui with the title Fu Sheng. Fu Sheng means the sage of restoration, means the sage who has restored his true nature. So this sage, when Confucius said, 人 rests within yourself, how could it come from others? This sage Yan Hui asked, may I ask about the steps in this process? Actually, this question is for us. It's for us. The master replied, look not at what is contrary to true nature. Listen not to what is contrary to true nature. Speak not what is contrary to true nature. Make no movement what is contrary to true nature. 非礼勿视听言动. Yan Yuan said, although I may not be wise or clever, 好谦虚哦, I will do my utmost to follow these words. So look not, listen not, speak not, make no movement when it is contrary to true nature. What Confucius taught about not looking, listening, speaking, or moving in ways contrary to true nature reflects the concept we often speak of. 这正是我们常说的六根清净 方为道啊。The true practice of Tao requires keeping our six senses untainted, unpolluted. The six senses, five senses plus smell, 眼 sight, 耳 ear, nose, and tongue, and body and mind. Okay, look not, look means our eyes. Listen not, listen means our ears. And speak means our tongue. And okay, six senses. Here are three senses. And for the rest of the six senses, nose, body, and mind, move not. 非礼勿视听言啊，然后另外三根啊，就是不要动，不要动，定下来的意思就是这样。Be stable, move not. Talking about the six senses, human beings rely on their six senses to navigate through life. Of course, eyes to see, ears to hear, and so on. However, if life is driven solely by the pursuit of satisfying these senses, it inevitably leads to getting lost in the material world. 人们要六根才能够生活，但是如果一直追求六根的欲望满足，那么就是迷失在物质世界当中了嘛。That's why our senses need a master. 所以我们的六根就是需要一个主人。Need a master to guide them, helping them function at their best. And that master is each person's inherent true nature. 自信做主。So 自信做主就是要反省嘛。So cultivation really comes down to self-reflection in daily life. We don't look at things we shouldn't see. 非礼绝对不要看。We don't listen to sounds we shouldn't hear. 非礼绝对不要听。We don't say things we shouldn't say. And we don't even let certain thoughts arise if they aren't aligned with our true nature. 妄念不要起，不要跟啊。Let our true nature guide us to live each day well. 但是我们要六根好好过日子啊，怎么过日子呢？孝顺父母 honoring and caring for our parents, loving our families, helping others, building positive connections, 广结善缘 and spreading Tao, 办道 to lift others out of suffering. And in this way, we allow our six senses to fulfill their highest purpose. And only then is life truly bright and meaningful. Yan Yuan asked about Ren. The master replied, to subdue one's ego and return to one's true nature, this is Ren. If one day you can subdue yourself and return to true nature, the whole world will be included in your spiritual light. Ren rests within yourself. How could it come from others? Yan Yuan then asked, may I ask about the steps in this process? The master replied, look not at what is contrary to true nature. Listen not, speak not, make no movement which is contrary to true nature. Yan Yuan said, very humble. Although I may not be wise or clever, he has been, he was the wisest. But he said, although I may not be wise or clever, I will do my utmost. See, he has been very committed. He said he will do his utmost to follow these words. 回虽不敏，请示施于矣. Okay, this is the very last passage for tonight. Very short. The master said, the virtuous will always have meaningful words, but those who speak well are not necessarily be virtuous. A person of Zen is always brave, but those who are brave do not necessarily possess Zen. And I have all the pronunciation, the Chinese pronunciation, because this passage is very concise and well structured, with a rhythmic and balanced flow. So it is very suitable for recitation in Chinese. 有德者必有言，有言者不必有德；仁者必有勇，勇者不必有仁。 OK，有德者必有言。Virtuous individuals are true practitioners. Why they are virtuous? Because they practice what they preach. They practice what they learn. They don't just treat principles or teachings as knowledge to be understood. They actively live them out. So because of this, they naturally gain deep insights and are able to speak words of wisdom. Okay, so they are able to guide people with words and speech. 有德者必有言. Okay, and 有言者不必有德. Those who are eloquent may or may not practice what they preach, but they are very eloquent. But if they don't practice what they preach, they cannot possess virtue. So, which is why they are not necessarily virtuous. But this passage isn't for a standard to judge other people. It's a standard for self-reflection. So we don't criticize someone like virtuous or eloquent or without virtue, whatever. This is for self-reflection, not for criticizing others. And 仁者必有勇. A person of Zen is always brave. This is very touching. I'll give you this example. 仁者必有勇. Selfless love leads to brave sacrifice in times of danger. A true story. During the 1988 earthquake in the Ninakam, Armenia, the capital was also severely damaged. A mother and daughter who had been buried under the rubble for 8 days. They were miraculously rescued after 8 days buried under the rubble. And the 3-year-old girl was able to survive. Why? Because during the 8 wet and cold days with no food, no drinking water, but the daughter was hiding in the mom's arms, so she felt very safe. And her mom pricked her fingers. 妈妈把手指头咬破了 and let the child suck her own blood and absorb nutrients to survive. So whenever there is a major earthquake, you can always witness stories of the great mother's love. A mother who may not possess great physical strength, but when faced with danger, she would always exhibit astounding courage or miraculous strength to save her child. 仁者必有勇. Some people might seem weak or timid in their daily lives, maybe even scared to death by something like a rat or cockroach, right? But at a critical moment of life and death, they often show remarkable courage, especially when it comes to saving someone's life. And that's true benevolence. That's why Confucius say, a person of Zen is always brave. A woman who is afraid of cockroaches will often risk everything to protect her baby during an earthquake, ready to shield them from any potential danger. Why? Because of love, or because of a mother's love. In every major earthquake, you can see the power of a mother's love. 但是呢，勇者不必有人. As for those who are brave, do not necessarily possess 人. We can use the example of rebellious teenagers, 就像恶少斗殴啊 rebellious teenagers who are tough and fearless. 他们认为他们很勇敢，或者飙车啊 who doesn't hesitate to engage in ruthless behavior and enjoys causing disturbances or creating chaos. They may look brave, but they lack even a bit of Zen. Nothing. 勇者不必有人. Well, we can do self-examination. Maybe 我们不会斗殴，我们不会飙车, but we can do self-examination. Reflect on ourselves this way. For example, what if we sometimes we lose our temper. When we think about it, when we lose our temper and start shouting or even turning red with anger, we might think we are being brave. 老虎不发威被人家以为是病猫。We might think we are being brave, but we've already lost 人。所以不要以为自己是勇敢，其实是已经没有了人因为勇者不必有人。The master said, the virtuous will always have meaningful words, but those who speak well are not necessarily be virtuous. A person of Zen is always brave, but those who are brave do not necessarily possess Zen. Chinese very suitable for recitation. 子曰：有德者必有言，有言者不必有德；仁者必有勇，勇者不必有仁。And in 2024 online series of the classics for the Analects, we have 3 sessions, and the recordings are on YouTube, on this YouTube channel. So feel free to scan the QR code and access the recordings. And may your journey of Zen be blessed and bright. I need to conclude my presentation here. If I have made any mistakes, I beg for God and Buddha's forgiveness, and I hope that beg for your understanding. And let's move on to our next feedback session. And I'm looking forward to hearing your insights. Thank you. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you.
Lecturer Susannah Lin, for your hard work and your excellent explanation. Thank you so much. And thank you for your loving, kind heart for all the members here tonight.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Thank you and good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.